Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Silent Hill. I'm Robin at Andrew Jack without a C. We are currently working on what I think is our bad plus ending, so I should go ahead and mark that down. And we are like on the tail end of our second to last playthrough. In fact, I need to go ahead. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully the audio levels are working. Yes. Okay. So, we wound up in the sewers. And oh boy, hard mode is very much exactly what it says on the tin. Hello, Crow! And yes, we came back just yesterday, uh, and it's quite nice. Hell yeah! So, hi, Crow. How are you? I hope you're well. Oh, okay. There's a funny little guy who is doing funny little things to me that I don't like. We're going to just run, run, run. Kigu outfit it is! One moment, please. Let's go ahead and a boom. Hey, Malik. Hey, Lark. Good to see you both. Tuesday is going well. I got to hyperfixate on a drawing I'm working on. And I've been kind of focusing on that over other things that I, maybe should be focusing on, but... Oh, shoot, you know what? I think there are healing items or rare ammos over here. Healing items! Hell yeah. I've been playing Potionomics, which is, so far, great, if a bit tense. Played a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 3's new content. I've just been staying a little busy. It's been nice. I like it. I'm not so excited about the news today. Once again, things keep proving themselves to be more complicated than they initially seem, and we all pay the price. Which is frustrating, because I spent 20 minutes yesterday talking about the whole Bayonetta 3 news, and now I have to sit there and go, information has changed some opinions a little bit. Met up with my old roommate for the first time in like 10 years. Hot damn. We had pizza and she met my cat, and she's advocating for the improvement of the infectious disease workforce. Hell yes. That's dope. That's great. Oh, we don't need that. That's handgun ammo. We never need handgun ammo ever again. Now that we're down here, we are going to take the western route. God, I was so fucking bummed about Bayonetta 3, and now there's nuance to the tune of like $16,000. Yeah, so I mentioned the story as people knew it yesterday. And the new development is that there are now sources claiming that there's more information that was allegedly left out of Helena Taylor's whole thing. And we don't have to get into that today if we don't want to. If we want to just focus on some good old horror, we can. But also, ooh, you know what? This is a little loud. So, going to, ow, all ass. Gonna turn it down just a little bit, and then get a move on. I think all I really need to say about the Bayonetta 3 news is the stuff I've learned today has largely raised more questions. So I'm upholding my personal role in the boycott. Hey, Mom. Good to see ya. But it is unfortunate that, like, it can't just be simple. But, you know, whatever. I have gotten better at that sewer section. It's always the part I look forward to the least. And now, because we're working on the bad plus ending, we get to go straight past the resort. Grab the map. Let's see, what's the direction we need to go? We need to go south, which means we need to turn right about a little more than 90 degrees. Although, it would be good to take a stop by Annie's bar and pick up anything that might be useful for survival purposes. Because we still have 2 final bosses to fight, and we need to get better at grabbing the things we need to survive. We're getting better at survival. Okay, so this is the start of the Michael Kaufman storyline, which we are not following through. It's very easy to not follow through. All we have to do is just keep going. But there are a couple of health drinks here, and I don't think there's anything else too huge of value. Hey, Grease! Good to see you. Taking it nice and slow today. Well, I say nice and slow, but we are, like, blasting through this game as quickly as we can. Which is kind of like taking it slow. Hopefully everybody is doing well outside of, like, any difficulties you're dealing with. Hopefully the night finds you well. Well enough to join and relax. Now we can probably go to the motel and pick up some more stuff, but I think we might be good. In fact, let's check our reserves. Not a lot of regular health drinks. Fewer now. Whee! Whoa! Hello! Hello, monkey man. Oh god, there's a lot of you. My controller isn't vibrating, so we're good for now. But I do think it would be good. Oh, did I? Yeah, I went past everything. Oh well. Fuck it. Okay, so we're heading up to the boat and to the lighthouse. Once we do the lighthouse, we'll do the Sybil fight, which I'm not looking forward to. No, wait, this is the bad plus. Run. It'll be fine. It's gonna go great. Okay, so I've been playing Potionomics. For those of you who don't know, it's the bisexual disaster card game. It's a great little like crafting game where, you know, you make potions and you sell them, kind of like Recettear. It's like 25 bucks on Steam, currently at a small discount as part of its like launch sale. And yeah, it's like genuinely very nice. Like it's very pretty. The animations are great. The character designs are so good. It's like it's just been a really solid thing. In the week we were away, Jack the cat has also learned how to pull my hair when I am asleep and he wants attention. Oh my god. Yeah, that's cat. That is very cat. We used to have a cat who loved to eat hair, which was so great. So he just hooks his whole ass knife hand in there and pulls. Jesus. Oh, and you got curly hair. That's just even worse. That's a nightmare. A nightmare Jack is causing. Do you hear me, Jack? Don't pull hair. Don't pull hair. Don't you do it. Don't you fucking do it. It's very mean. Ow! Nope, wait, that didn't hit. Okay, so now we gotta haul ass. As mentioned in our last playthrough, we just need to focus on finding every step, uh, every stairwell, every little bridge, every like contrasting sign. So good and soft and cute, and also he heard your voice and had to come to investigate. Jack's kind of an honorary chat member, I think. But then we see the blue, and we run, we run, we run. Hauling ass. Twirling, twirling, twirling towards freedom. This is one of those games for me that, like, when I play it, I push the buttons a little bit harder than I really need to. And it wears out my hand so fast, but, like, when you play this game, you just kind of tense up whether you're scared of it or not. And it'd be funny if it weren't wearing out my thumb with this old school D-pad. There's a Lessa and a Mark of Samael, and then Le Chat and Le Chat. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so we've done the lighthouse. We've done very well. It was a very challenging section, and now we are free of it and we can move on. Let's see. We'll have some more sewers to do. We've got dogs just going straight up the stairwell. And then we teleport to the boat.
Sybil hasn't come back.
All right. We're just gonna keep saving every chance we get. Because this game will not be kind. That's fine. Oh god. I don't like the dogs are on stairwells. I don't like that they can use stairs. Feels like monsters shouldn't be able to use stairs. Okay. So we're making our way west, and on the north side of the street we should be able to find a fence with a door and an entryway into yet still more sewers. Which I don't love, but we're gonna do it anyway. Ow. No, that's cows. I mean, here's the thing. That's half correct. Cows can go upstairs. They just can't go down. Okay, now, what was the deal with this place? This is... Yeah, this one's fairly straightforward. And we are suffering. Okay. That is still like one of the weirdest random facts out there. Just... I don't know exactly how somebody figured out save by example cows' aptitude for stairways. Farmers get up to some weird shit. That much is like 100% true. And farm animals in general have a strange history in the United States to the point that I think it's an East Coast state where it had to become law for reasons that are unknown to me, and I don't think I ever want to know the reason, where you cannot have a donkey in a bathtub on a Sunday. Period. It's illegal. Can't do it. Do I know why? No. Why do I know this fact? Sometimes people just say shit, and I remember it forever. And I'm not exactly happy about knowing a random fact like that. It might be slightly inaccurate. I might be conflating two different weird laws. One of them does involve a donkey in a bathtub. Oh god. Okay, they're invisible mumblers. We don't like that. We're just going to keep running. And we're going to look for ice cream. It is vital that we find the ice cream. If we do not find the ice cream, we will be lost forever. Okay, I think that's the ice cream shop, which means we are not far from where we need to go, which should be right there. No, that is a completely different carousel. That carousel is the wrong carousel. This carousel is the right carousel. All right, so Sybil is evil now, and we are going to throw juice on her that we picked up off the floor with a plastic bottle. There's probably some bits of glass in there. Don't worry about it. These were back in the days where science was basically just throwing stuff at the wall, like, I wrote down that this bird is red, and everyone's like, they're right, it is.
Sybil. Wake up. Snap out of it. Sybil.
So I figure it's worth mentioning
Harry,
something kind of obvious,
what happened?
that
Shh.
we've seen
Don't talk. I'll
very
take care of
people-like people, humanoids, who are very
Harry,
clearly like
why did they take
representative
your daughter?
of real people who had growths on their
Why
back,
her?
similarly to how Sybil
I'm
was
not
set
sure
up.
myself. But, you know, Cheryl isn't my biological daughter.
So it's
I
kind of
actually
nice
haven't
that like
told her
we
yet.
can kind of see the way that
She
Sybil
probably already knows
was
anyway, though.
almost a part of this whole thing.
We found her abandoned on the side of the highway.
Do we need to watch this?
Nobody-
We don't need to watch this. We can keep moving. We got nowhere to do. We've got a whole ending to watch and a whole final playthrough to start.
I figured.
So let's get it started. Then Lisa, who is having a normal one. And I will say, for the time, having that little twitch there, pretty damn impressive. It was just nice and subtle. Alright. So, as mentioned, nowhere has no map. And so we need to pay careful attention to where we are, because we will get very, very confused. I always get confused here because I need a map and I don't have one. but that's fine. Okay, so we are still running low on health. I'm going to pop an emergency bottle. Oh, don't you start. Oh God. Why did that scare me more than anything else in the game? It's like, oh, yeah, that's terrifying actually. So this first room with the door of Phaleg. Oh God. Okay, and that is the door of Haggis. Oh gosh. Whew. Okay, now we got the save point. That's what I wanted. And we have a first aid kit. Oh, hot damn. Okay, so we're going to grab that, and we're going to grab that shotgun ammo or rifle ammo? I forget which. Shotgun shells. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn right immediately. Run past everybody. I'm going to go down the stairs. And run into the very next room where we are going to pick up some very necessary tools for what's going to be happening soon. Got a screwdriver. We've got pliers. And we've got to get the fuck out of here. So let's go ahead and just start blasting. There we go. Okay. Everything's working out. Let's grab our pliers. Oh. I didn't quite get into the right position for that. Let's see. Nope. PlayStation 1 tank controls. They are super reliable. Alright, so now we have the key of Ophiel. Which means, whoop. Nope. Okay, you need to stop that. Okay, she's gone. That's Phaleg. Where is Ophiel? Stop that! Okay, goodbye. Oh, that's Ophiel. Hell yes. Let's see. Think we've got... Yes. No. Dang it. So now we're going to just open every door because I forgot where we're supposed to go. And now we have a puzzle, which if we remember, we count the legs. So, well, we count the limbs. So this one is 6. This one is 4. And this one is 8. And the plate falls, and that is something we can take back to the save room. Oh gosh. And then we type in alert. Okay. Accidentally double inputted that first one. But hopefully... Yes! Doesn't matter. And then we're grabbing the Amulet of Solomon and moving back. And there will be a little scene with Lisa, which is very sad. And I don't want to look at it.
Harry?
Lisa.
I'm sorry, Lisa. I'm going to watch that again on the next playthrough because I really love that cinematic. But oh my god, I can't do it right now. Get down. Oh, the music is still playing. Yes. Okay. So now that we're done with that, where are we? We are looking to go back where we were, through here. You stop that. Hell yes. Okay. And through here. And with that, we should be able to just plug in this slate and be good to go. We are making shorter work of this so far than we usually do. That's pretty great. More than anything else, that part is what actually makes me scared. I used to have this, and still occasionally do, have this irrational fear of things literally exploding in my face. Which is a very difficult problem. Like, you can't exactly address that. Ow! Get down. Okay. Okay. Alright, now I think we need to go to the second floor. Hopefully that was the right button. Let's check our health, which is probably going to be, yep, terrible, but we have so many full health kits. We're going to make use of the fact that these people can't even get close to us. Love that. Ah, so good. Okay, I think I saw that laser go down a little bit, so we might be good. Have I been playing anything new lately? I'm kind of messing around. I've been messing with the TMNT Cowabunga collection. Played Turtles in Time for like the third time. This time on hard mode. I had to play it with Lark too, so that was a lot of fun. There we go. Also, I'm working on a P-cross puzzle that I have not been able to figure out. Okay, you stay dead. There we go. What's this room? This is... Ah, a camera. We need that. Well, actually, we don't need it. We know the puzzle solutions. How about you sit down? Sit down? Sit down. There we go. Then we're going to rush over here and we're going to unscrew this plate. Now eventually we are going to come back because this is wired with electricity. So I'll get the screwdriver out of our inventory. We don't need it. Now we need to find the elevator, which I don't remember the location of. This is kind of our main hallway. It's where we're going to be going to... Oh, yep. Elevator is busted. Right. There is a different place where we can go use an elevator. Do I remember where it is? What would be a meta horror game in the style of Silent Hill be? Bad Rats? Meta horror is an interesting subject. So I kind of wonder. Okay, so now I am sitting here trying to remember how we get to where we need to go. A game that markets itself as a horror game of a franchise you love, but it's not horror and that it's trying to be scary. It's more that it's trying to unsettle and abuse its fan base. Silent Hill? Post Silent Hill 4 Silent Hill? Yeah, I actually... I mean, Bad Rats actually fits pretty well because that is a game that is inflicted on people as opposed to something that is consciously bought. So I think that's a good bet on its own. All right, light to the future. And then ooh, God. I mean, the beginner's guide is a really good example though. The Magic Circle is also a really good example, and one that I've been wanting to play on stream for a while. Thank you for reminding me of that. For those of you who don't know and are very interested in, I would say, game development, and also you like when things just get very, very weird, it's by the Stanley Parable folks. The Beginner's Guide is free to play. You can just go play it whenever you want, and it's a nice, like, 2-hour experience, not very long. It's a very spoken word experience, and I would strongly recommend it if you haven't. It is what I would consider a must-play indie game. Anyway. The Magic Circle is a very meta first-person, I guess, puzzle narrative might be the best way to put it. That features the voice of James Urbaniak, who does a genuinely great job in it. It's a great game about the nature of game development. All right, so now we're going to head back to, I think, I don't know if it's floor 2. Some of the stuff that happens in this area makes me confused about which floor we are ever on at any given time. So, Going to see if... Oh, yes, we're at the main hallway. Oh god! This is not where I want to be. Goodbye. Oh, jeez. That was so many problems. Use the birdcage key, and we've got the key of Phaleg. That's right, everybody. We've got the key of Phaleg here. There's the key of Phaleg. Then we get to run up. But yeah, a meta horror game is, like, in and of itself a very interesting idea. Um, and I think indie's been doing a pretty good job of playing around with the idea of meta horror by making games that are meant to imitate other games in order to try and create their points. Unfortunately, there's so many that I can't remember the names of them. Now I'm just sitting here like, I should play Beginner's Guide again. And I should finish the Magic Circle. I've been sitting on that one for years. Okay. Right, invisible mumblers. Then we're in this wild room where an unk is. Let's see. We're going to just hold up. Make sure we get everything in here because there are healing items and jelly beans for when we would like a snack. Good old jelly beans. Never let anyone down. Let's open the bag. Oops. Butterfingers. But we do have the key of Bether. Okay. Anything else? There is a TV. I think this is where we could plug in the VHS if we wanted to. We're not going to, because it's not important. We have so many things right now. We're actually in like a fantastic position. Going to go over here real quick, where we are apparently back here again. Interesting. Turn off the generator, and then we're going to go back to the main hallway. Nope, that's wrong. Now, Key of Phaleg puts us back in the main hallway. Where do we need to go? We need to go through the double doors? Oh, crap. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Get off of me, get off of me, get off of me. Ow, crap. I just took a few too many hits, but that's fine. We'll check what we got. I believe, if we, depending on where we start, let's see. This game's continue system is pretty nice, usually. It is not so nice to us right now. So I need to figure out how far we've gotten. Okay. So we've gotten the Oh, we gotta go back a ways, don't we? Shoot. Okay, so I'm going to assume that the key of Haggith is the last thing we got. And the key of Haggith opens this door over here. Yep, that's where we were. Shoot. Goodbye. God, we lost a bit of progress there. But the good thing is, we're actually starting to figure out how this place works a little better. Of course, this place has no map, but right now we're starting to get to the point where we can actually understand how to get where we need to go with some level of consistency. So we're going to pick up the Crest of Mercury, the rifle shells, and the Ring of Contract. Ring of Contract. Okay, now I need to find this door. Nope. This door. Yep. Unlock this one. Oh, we have to unscrew this. The whole thing. Going to run over here and take this left right here. So that we can pick up the camera again. Ugh, we need to remember to save the next time we hit the main hallway and every time we hit the main hallway. Rude. Nope, that's not the way we need to go. We need to go. There we go. Leave. No, that's not the elevator we need to go to. We need to go to over here. Hell yes. Okay. Getting the hang of this. And we're going to go to the third floor, which leads us to the altar. I'm almost glad that we have to redo this. Because the more I do this section over and... Oh! That was a little ghosty Alessa there. Praying at the altar. And you too can check it for yourself later with the VODs available for 60 days after initial airing, completely free. Alright, now, let's do this again. I'm kind of grateful that this little point and click thing is a lot easier than it looks. We go in, we grab our stuff. Yeah! It's actually, like, genuinely interesting to see... Play back the clip! It's interesting to see Alessa go from adult to child from the beginning of the game to the end. She doesn't become Kid Alessa until, like, the very back half of the game, after you use the weird little Flauros thing. I forget what that specifically has to do with Alessa, but kind of the point is, it is one of the things that merges Alessa and Cheryl. I don't know exactly how that part works, but she stops being an adult by this point in the game. Okay, so we need to hit floor 2. Yeah, if you end up going back for it, pay attention to the altar itself, especially right below the top of the table, and you will see her. It's a little bit ghosty. Okay, so I'm gonna go through, let's see. Yeah, we're gonna go through, yeah. We are going to go through, yeah, where we are going to save. We are going to save, because while I am grateful for learning about this layout a little bit better, I don't know if I can do that again unless I have to. And we got the birdcage key. Get the key of Phaleg, where we are then going to immediately go to the right, use the key of Phaleg, and go right into here. Use that ring of contract. Grab that dagger. See that cutscene of someone ineffectively trying to get out of the fridge. Okay. Now we need. Oh, no, 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 nope, 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 nope. There we go. All good. Cutscene. Onk. Run straight forward. Mashing X. Get that motion. Gotta have that motion. Open that jelly bean bag like a fucking buffoon. To be fair, he's very stressed out, and he doesn't even realize that he may have lost his daughter forever. That's no big deal. It happens. Sometimes... Sometimes that just happens. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Nope. Okay, come on. There we go. No, no. Get me out of here. Okay, we're going to just blow these guys away. There we go. And we're just going to keep shooting until we don't hear any more noise. Ain't that great? Aerotron. Okay. So... Key of Beether. Love a key of... Love a Beether. Today I learned about aphantasia. Now I'm trying to figure out what a better description of it is, because it sounds like how I visualize things, but at the same time, just because you're aware of something doesn't mean it's you. Hmm. Now I'm thinking about it. Okay. Okay, looks like we're fine. Wait. We can go through here. Yeah. Explain a little bit, because I think... I recall what that's about, but I don't recall explicitly from the description. And I would like to know more. Oh god. Let's get rid of these goddamn Sam squanches. The word is Greek for literally without imagination. Can't form pictures. Okay. I do kind of remember what that is. Huh. Oh, Chris, I didn't know you had aphantasia. That's interesting. It doesn't even seem to be like... Because I know visual artists who have aphantasia. Which is, from my perspective, really weird, because I am a very visual thinker. To the point that I don't even see words. I just understand them when I see something that is supposed to represent a word that I can't parse in my head. Um, which is a little weird, but aphantasia is the thing that like definitely makes me go, huh, the world is so full of things. Okay, I think we're back in the main hallway. Okay. Anyone else want to mess with me? Okay, we're going to grab what's over here. We are going to... Now, the great thing is, we haven't used any rifle ammo. We have a ton of first aid kits, which are massively superior to what we've been rocking. We have more than enough to get nasty with this boss fight, and thus get through this next ending, potentially without moving. And we're going to go ahead and let all of the cutscenes play out from this point forward. So here we go.
Come along. No. No. I don't want to. Do what Mommy tells you now. I just want you to lend me a teeny bit of your power. That's all.
Really hard to understand how I know people when I see them, when I
I
cannot
don't want
visualize
to
their
do it.
faces. Yeah,
It'll
it's
make
like...
everyone happy, and it's for your own good, too.
It's sort of like how
Oh,
those with,
but
what is it
Mommy,
called,
I just want to
prosopagnosia,
be with
where you
you.
can't see human faces
Just
when they're in front of
two of
you,
us. Please
yet they can
understand.
still draw a face.
Oh,
Like,
yes, I
there is something
see.
about
Maybe Mommy has been wrong.
the way the brain works where there's just a lot of hidden
Mommy!
mechanisms that are going on that we can't actually perceive, that we
Why
can't tap
didn't I
into.
see this before?
Um,
There's no reason to wait.
which I guess is a little bit like, you only use 10% of your brain,
Herein
but what if you
lies
used
the
100% of
mother's
it?
womb,
But it's
containing the
more like,
power to create life.
sometimes
I
when we
could have
develop
done
our,
it
like, the
all
wires that connect
myself.
our brain to the rest of our body, just like, they
Mommy?
get mixed up sometimes, or sometimes stuff gets crossed, or like some old wires, like they bend weird and then suddenly they don't quite work as well as you need them to. Like when you jiggle a coax cable and it just makes the picture a little fuzzy. Yeah, it's probably a workaround because like your brain is clearly processing a memory. It just isn't able to deliver that to you in a way
I
that's
was
like
shocked to realize the
conscious.
talisman of Metatron was being used.
Like strictly
In
a
spite of the
a
lost soul's
subconscious
eternal
process.
quest.
Because there's a lot of stuff your brain does that you are not
Flipped
aware of
over
it.
and all would have been for naught. It's all because of that man. We
As
must be
someone who's almost
thankful,
completely face blind, and that most of me uh
even though it
telling people apart with my
exercises
voice and hairstyle, I recognize this reference, right?
his little
Cool, I'm
girl
learning.
has to go.
I've learned so
What
many neat
a
facts about y'all
pity.
today.
Freeze! What in the devil's name? Ugh.
Dahlia.
Well, well, well. To think you'd make it this far.
Where's Cheryl? What have you done to her?
What are you talking about? You've seen her many times restored to her former self.
Correction.
I'm in no mood for jokes.
We haven't
Don't you see? She's right
seen
there.
her since she merged. Little tiny baby projection Alyssa is most likely
You are the only one who thinks so.
representative of the point in which Cheryl was actually merged with
Why?
Alyssa. And I wonder if the Flauros was related to
Why
that,
are
as I
you
mentioned
doing
earlier.
this?
It's been a long 7 years. For the 7 years since that terrible day, Alessa has been kept alive, suffering a fate worse than death.
I feel like it's worth mentioning.
Alessa has been trapped
7 years
in an
ago,
endless nightmare from
Harry
which
and
she
his
never
wife
awakens.
found Cheryl. The
He
shot of
has
Sybil and Harry at the Good Plus ending
waiting for the
is
day
actually a
to be
mirror
born.
of a shot in the
That
opening
day
cinematic
has
before the press
finally
start screen
come.
when you first boot up the game, not
The
after you beat the
time
game,
is now.
because it gets replaced, of Harry and his wife finding
Everyone
Cheryl.
will be released from pain and suffering.
Um, with the
Our
way that
salvation is
various
at hand. This is the day of reckoning.
my brain says say
When
extracurricular
all our
extracurricular
sorrows
media
will
for
be
this game, for
washed
specifically this
away.
game. We get to know a little
When
bit
we
more about
return
Cheryl
to the
herself and a little bit about
paradise,
like what she does in Silent Hill before she's merged.
my
And
Penny will be the mother of
so
God.
Harry's wife passes away fairly early on in Cheryl's life. And Harry, up to this point, 7 years later, has not gotten over it. Cheryl is behaving a bit weird for a kid in that she's weirdly mature for her age, and she even suggests to the both of them to
It's a
go
way.
on a vacation.
Now
Whether
no
or
one
not
can
she was the one who picked
interfere.
Silent Hill, or if it was Harry, or
Cheryl!
if it was just a stop on the way, I don't
If
remember.
that person no longer exists,
But by this point, something was
this
drawing
is a
them there.
God descended among us
A
to
common
reach
factor in
out
all
and
Silent Hills
save
is
us.
that people are drawn to this place, whether they realize it or not. Bye, Dahlia. Alright, so we are going to pull out our big gun, which we have 30 bullets for. And we are going to reload, and we are going to hover over our first aid kit. Because when we heal, we're not actually going to take damage. That's not a joke. And we're done. See what happens when you stock up?
Daddy.
Cheryl!
Thank you, Daddy. Goodbye.
I think what this means is we can,
Cheryl?
if we can hold enough bullets,
Be
we can just use the shotgun for all our boss
can't lose
fights
like this.
up to the last one,
This
and
can't
then
be
just start
happening.
blasting with the rifle
Cheryl?
on the final.
Cheryl!
It's so good. And there's the bad plus ending. Ugh. God, I can't believe we've gotten through. I have never actually managed. I've said this countless times by now. I've never actually managed to play through a completed save file for Silent Hill 1. I've done it for 2 and 3. Maybe I haven't done it with 3. I've done it for 2, and I believe I made the attempt at 3. I must have because I did move on to 4. But 1? Never. Love how that last Cheryl sounds like Harry is telling her off in a crowded supermarket, right? It's like they were handed the script and not given any sort of context to what they were saying. Um, which isn't the worst thing. It's how voice acting was at the time. But a lot of dialogue is done that way. There is something about like, Cheryl Mason, you get over here this instant. Yeah, there is something. There are a lot of times where the voice acting is a little funny because it just doesn't quite connect. Like it doesn't quite land as a believable organic reaction to the context of the situation. And much in the same way that we talked about like Silent Hills 2's HD remaster, infamous for many reasons. Um, One of the things about the way that the first 3 games are voice acted was very stilted, very disaffected, very uncanny. Like the words are largely right, even if it was kind of shifty, and the delivery was kind of right, but sometimes just felt very weird. 1 second.
Harry. Go.
See what I mean? They're given just a basic description, what's going on, and they just deliver their first run. No second takes. And I can't explain why it works in Silent Hill. Gosh. I love that bit. Anyway, so how many times did we die? We continued 17 times. Uh we defeated 85 enemies by shooting. I don't know how that is that strange. Anyway, it is time for our last playthrough. Holy cow. We will actually finish by the end of next stream. That's wild. And that means Saturday we get to have a little fun with a little interstitial. Oh, and Probably next Tuesday or Wednesday. I haven't decided yet. I'll let y'all know this weekend. Next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, we are back on Gex 3 with Ryan and Lark. Knock on wood, there's always a chance something would go wrong because, much like trying to organize a tabletop game, gathering 3 adults together for a thing is pretty tricky. But if it works out, we'll be back on Gex 3. We'll be working our way towards Ryan playing the Gex Junior PSX prototype, which we have all been looking forward to quite a bit. There goes the bird. Okay. It begins. We're going to grab our laser blast. Now, some things that worked about our last playthrough is that we had more than enough health items. We had more than enough rifle shells. We did not use the rifle at all.
What's that?
Throughout the entire playthrough. If we used a gun other than the light blaster, it was the shotgun, which worked out perfectly well. Like, we had more than enough bullets for the whole thing. So, I think we can blast through this round pretty easily.
This is not a dream. What's happening to this place?
And now I get to do the great thing of playing without even looking at the map for a bit. So it's going to automatically show us this. We're going to head to Finney Street and go down the alley to start, and then we are going back to the convenience store, pick up the keys and any other items that we happen to see around. Find the note to get to the doghouse on Levin Street and make our way through, get the katana, which didn't suit us well, but worked just fine. And we should be able to get through the school on this playthrough. And I bet you anything, we could get to the drawbridge right where we usually stop. It's weird that we've been, like, consistent with that drawbridge being, like, where we end up at the end. So we're going to grab that. It's going to tell us to go to the Midwich Elementary School so that we can be kindergarten cop. And then haul ass. Deal with the dog. Okay, so now that we're, like, going to be kind of chilling for a little while, I kind of want to circle back to the Helena Taylor thing because it got me thinking about, like, it got me thinking about how I keep seeing too many takes on social media, and it's made me kind of, like, pull back from it a little bit. I took a week off from social media for the most part. Like, I still popped on once in a blue moon, but... So I mentioned Bayonetta 3. Helena Taylor came out and said they offered me $4,000 total to reprise my role as Bayonetta. Which, taken at face value, is an insulting offer, and anyone would have the right to be upset by that. Today, news came out from Bloomberg, from Video Game Chronicle, from a few different sources that were actually referring to the same group of sources. So it wasn't just a whole bunch of articles referring to another article. That everything Helena Taylor said was technically true, but it was incomplete, so the claim goes. And that she was offered $4,000 or $3,000 per session around 5 sessions. And that she counter-offered for something that was 6 figures and residuals. I personally believe if you work on a game, if you work on an entertainment product, if you work on something that a company can sell and resell, you deserve residuals. If you are somebody who worked on the thing on which something is adapted from, you deserve residuals. So right now, a lot of the discourse around it is as oh god, what's her name? Something Sterling from like formerly Jimquisition. She started doing like written reviews and everything. She had a great comment about the situation of like, this has become more of a discussion about he said, she said, and whether or not one person or the other is lying, rather than about whether or not voice actors deserve good pay, deserve residuals, deserve to negotiate for better pay. And that's kind of where I would like to be. I'm not personally, internally there yet, but it is where I would like to be. Because I got so frustrated by the news because it kept making me go, wow, James Stephanie Sterling, thank you. I never expected that, like, Stephanie would, like, completely about face in my head of, like, hey, I didn't like her work before. I like her work more now, especially now that she's, like, getting really good at, like, focusing on the political underpinnings of business decisions in the game industry. She's getting really good at that. And she's a wrestler. And apparently a pretty good one. Like, what the hell? That's great. It's awesome. Chase your bliss, goddammit. But that comment was made, and I realized that, like, that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm reading all this, and I don't know that I should believe anything I'm being told right now. You know what I mean? Like, it got to the point where it went beyond, well, I want to defend this person, and became, well, I don't trust anyone because the facts keep skewing just a little bit, just enough for me to go, I can't keep all the details straight. And while I'm still upholding the boycott on the matter of maybe I'm wrong, maybe my gut is wrong, maybe the information I've been seeing is wrong, and it's safer to stick up for the underdog even if they're wrong, because that does less damage. But I'm still just kind of like frustrated by the whole situation. Yeah, the claim is that Bayonetta 3 was actually more expensive to make because they went with union actors explicitly. And like that kind of ties into the weirdness of Helena Taylor saying she was offered only $4,000 total for everything, but they still went with Jennifer Hale, who is a hell of a lot more prolific in the game scene than Helena Taylor. That's not a knock. That's just a fact. Like, in terms of a pure numbers game, Jennifer Hale is the bigger get. She is somebody who, regardless of what anybody thinks about like who she is as a person, what her past politics have been, she is she is qualified to ask for more pay. She is somebody who, like, if she is somebody who is qualified to be paid more than some other folks. I would rather nobody be paid exceptionally more than other people. I have my own thoughts about like whether or not people deserve six figures, whether or not people deserve like absolutely absurd amounts. But yeah, it's incredibly messy, and it's unfortunate because like the details are just, they're not even all over the place. They're just like, it's getting to the point where like, as much I am put in the position where I am defending somebody who may potentially be lying. And I'm not saying she is because I don't know. And I'm not going to assume that she's lying. And I don't think other people should either. And I also think that, like, when it comes to corporations, it's usually okay to assume they're lying. The following statement is true. The statement is false. You have been given all the information. That's kind of like where I'm at. It's like, it gets worse because the Platinum Games comment, the stuff from the sources, doesn't actually contradict the numbers and the context of the scene, of the situation. It just adds in a few more details that, when placed amidst everything, makes certain things make more sense in a way that doesn't favor Helena Taylor. And that's kind of like how scathing a comment I'm willing to make on the whole subject. That there is enough going on that whoever you choose to believe, there's something weird and sketchy happening. Because I don't know about y'all. Like, if somebody is lying about this sort of situation, Helena Taylor doesn't have a reason to lie necessarily. And if Platinum Games is accurate in their comments, then Hideki Kamiya did not have a reason to behave the way he did, which wasn't out of character for him, but was not appropriate for the situation. So it's like, okay, what am I dealing with? What exactly is going on here that is making this so hard to deal with? It's aggravating. I don't like it. So I don't know. This is one of those news stories where I think at the end of the day. Hi, Kat. Yeah, the new angles are terrible. At the end of the day, no one on Twitter knows what the truth is. No one on social media knows what the truth is. We only have unspecified sources. I just want to know that people are getting paid fairly for their work. Yeah, exactly. And I think we can go ahead and assume that all the people who are working with SAG-AFTRA, who are hired for all this stuff, are likely being paid fairly. At the very least, there are defenses in place so that even if they are not being paid fairly for the work that they are putting in, they are being paid commensurate to the other talent on board, which is better in a sense. And I've had thoughts about like getting paid. The truth would set us free. This is antithetical to social media. Yeah, because the truth wouldn't get people talking. It would be so easy. Like, it would be an open and shut case, and nobody wants that when they are trying to like get some clicks, you know? Um you can't have a media circus with the truth. Exactly. And like, I don't think anyone here is intending to create a media circus. I don't like whether someone is lying or not in this particular case. I don't think anyone in this situation is trying to fuck anyone over, at least in the most explicit sense of the word. Nobody is trying to make the nastiest scenario possible. Kind of doing it anyway, but like, okay, we need to go downstairs. So yeah, I've also had thoughts about like, this conversation actually did like get me to a point where now I'm kind of thinking about like, okay, how much should actors get paid? Now, I am personally of the belief that actors in movies who get paid 7 figures is irresponsible. I don't think anybody should be paid $1 million for anything. Over the course of a long period of time, sure. But, getting paid $1 million, especially when you have other people on staff who may even take up as much screen time as anyone else, feels like capitalistic nonsense to me. And that's a personal belief. I also believe everyone needs to be paid better now. So like, while I think the idea of Helena Taylor trying to get 6 figures when, you know, her co-stars would likely not be getting that, is a time where I'm just kind of like, okay, residuals, yes, that amount, I feel is irresponsible giving to anyone, which I know is kind of like a weird thing to say, and it is entirely a personal opinion that has nothing to do with whether or not that actually would be good. I'm speaking from a very limited perspective here, as somebody who doesn't get paid much. But I don't know. Because I think the other thing I learned is that no one on social media knows how much voice actors get paid or what's a reasonable amount for voice actors to get paid. All anyone knows is that residuals are great. That people who've worked on Breath of the Wild are getting paid less than like the time they did like some kids cartoons, because the kids cartoons and like stuff from like Freedom Planet 1, which also offered residuals, was way more lucrative despite being a tiny indie game. Because like, here's another wrinkle to this. Helena Taylor mentioned that she was struggling financially in her videos. Somebody who has contributed to the multi-million-dollar sales of Bayonetta, and like, for the record, Bayonetta is not an incredibly successful series, no matter how anyone might try to frame it. she should not be somebody who is struggling financially for what she's provided that series. She should not be somebody who has to fear no longer having money. Like, I still stand by the idea that, like, yeah, she more than worked hard enough to be considered the voice of Bayonetta. She worked more than hard enough to be considered, like, the de facto, like, icon of that series. One of the reasons why the game is advertised the way it is. And therefore, I think anytime they release and re-release Bayonetta, anytime they make a new Bayonetta, I think she deserves money for that. Like I said, whatever her affiliations, whatever is going on in her head, I don't think that matters nearly as much as the fact that, like, yeah, if you give somebody a job, you pay them a good amount, and you make sure that they're protected. But I think the real thing here is that I think the hope for me is that we at least make residuals a thing for all voice actors. You know what I mean? Like, make that the thing that we get out of all this first and foremost. If nothing else, give voice actors residuals, please. Because I know, like, the voice actor for Frylock from Aqua Teen Hunger Force has been homeless while working on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. He has not been paid well. It was a really shitty thing to discover because, like, he is as much a part of Aqua Teen Hunger Force as any other people on that crew. He is a part of what makes that show appealing to its fans. So the idea that he was living in his car for the longest time, that he was homeless, that, like, he was basically being left behind while the show itself was, like, succeeding, is painfully ridiculous, and he deserved some kind of kickback for every second of that show that gets re-aired. Yeah, so this is not a knock against Helena Taylor. Just because she wasn't in a lot of other stuff doesn't mean that, like, she isn't iconic for even what few roles that she's played. But she has only played a few roles, and Bayonetta is her biggest role by far. She was in Dragon Age, she was in a couple of other games, she was in some anime, but otherwise, not a big, not a big resume outside of theater. Even 20,000 isn't going to hold you over until the next Bayonetta comes out. Yeah.
Where am I?
It's like, God, as I mentioned, all of this just goes to point out that this situation sucks. It is not fair to the people who are responsible for making something in some part popular or well known. Like, it's not fair that they have to struggle to find work or to keep the bills paid when corporations are able to, like, move on just fine with their lives without any issue whatsoever. Realistically, at 20K per project, you need like 5 to 8 projects per year to make it. Yeah. Especially depending on where you live. She lives in the UK. I don't know how I don't know what her living situation is like necessarily. I just know that like it's not. She herself has admitted that she is struggling, and I trust her on that. If nothing else, I trust her on the idea that she has not been financially successful. UK is pretty wildly high cost of living. Okay, cool. Good to know. But yeah, it's like considering her last role on IMDb was like listed as 2014, it's understandable why she would take issue with like struggling to get work and then like when she comes back feeling that she was being underpaid for the work that they wanted her to do for Bayonetta. And considering she's not that prolific for whatever reason, I have no idea why that would be. Uh, Maybe she just prefers theater, which is not as high paying. Maybe she just could not get roles for whatever reason, which, you know, sucks. Like, yeah, it's just it's frustrating to unpack, and I think I've kind of reached the point where I think just talking about it with you guys, I think I've reached the point where I don't actually care if she's lying anymore. I think what I care more about is making sure that the conversation moves to a point where we get voice actors paid more and better with better paying conditions like residuals. You know what I mean? It's like I think that's really where I'm just going to let myself stop and be like, okay, that's fine. It's weird, but it's fine. Overall, new conversation about how the arts are oversaturated with the independently wealthy. Yeah. Mumbler. Okay, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we. Oh, hey, this guy in the chain and spikes. Love it. Oh, and I actually got some interesting information about like SAG-AFTRA membership from somebody who is in the union. So hey, I am learning some things today. I think we need to go up to the second floor. No, we need to go up to the roof. Hey, rude. Because like I previously thought maybe she's not a union actress or maybe she's not active. Which is a possibility, or it was enough of a possibility for me to consider that maybe that was a factor in why she wasn't she was passed up for the role. Um, but SAG-AFTRA has some fairly solid constraints in that you can stay a member for uh, even if you're unemployed and out of work, you can stay a member and even forego your dues if you are unemployed and searching for work. Um, and that really the only thing you lose by being inactive is health insurance, which still bad. Um, and UK unions operate a little differently. Um, so like, so I had this mistaken belief that like somehow her not being active on screen for the past 8 years may have been a factor. And it likely isn't. I think I corrected myself a little bit there because I kind of had a misinterpretation of how it worked. I, if I could figure out where I got the idea that you had to stay active every year, that would be great. I don't know why I believed that, but I did. Okay, we need to head down to the courtyard. I'm kind of busting ass through this. Oh, nobody's here. And then we go and pick up the key. Okay, classroom key. Now, the only classrooms we haven't gone through so far are upstairs, which we can probably go... We're probably going to have to go south on the second floor, if I remember correctly. I've been using a guide for a lot of this pretty often, but this is one of the first ones where... Oh gosh. This is one of the first playthroughs I've done where I'm kind of just going purely by memory. So that's messed up. Oh my god, get to the door. Okay, there we go. Oh god. Don't worry about it. Okay, things are quiet, which means it's time to get things. Okay, where am I facing? Am I facing the right way? No. Yes. Into the door. And we're going to stop by the music room. No, we're not. Hell yeah. I think we're winding down on the Helena Taylor discussion. And just kind of enjoying our run through. We're actually almost done. And then we go over here for a jump scare. All right. So now we've got the library reserve key. And so we can move. Oh gosh. Get away. I drank caffeine and soda for the first time in years and I feel zooted like my pupils are. Yeah. Had to get some apartment stuff done, which meant moving everything yesterday and moving a bunch of stuff back today so we can use our beds and stuff. Hell yeah. Cool. Yeah, like, you seem to be nearing the end of that cycle? Saga? Not sure what the correct word for be. I like saga. The apartment saga. I'm glad, like, seems to be you are nearly done, which is really cool. Very glad for you. Okay. Okay, and then we use the library reserve key. We will see a book in the second room. We're going to grab... Oop, give me that. Yes. Oh, you stopped that knock-in. There's the book that tells us how to defeat the big bad at the end of this sequence. Where is the door? Oh yeah, it's back this way. We can unlock this door if we want. It's nice to call the building office and go, hey, fix this thing. And then they go, okay, we'll have someone over to fix it in a few days. Yeah, for all the complaints I have about our own apartment complex, they've actually been very good about fixing most things, pretty much all but one, which wasn't even necessarily their fault. It's just, it went on for so long that I was just like, oh, okay, well, that's frustrating, but it happens. So yeah, when you have a landlord or a management company actually like taking that seriously, they're like, yeah, okay, sure, we will definitely fix this thing. It's just nice. It's nice to see that kind of basic competency, that very low bar being met with expediency of some kind, with some level of efficiency. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and... No, I'm not going to switch to shotgun yet. I am going to heal. And then we are going to scoot everything over. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. God, okay, so we got a Silent Hill announcement scheduled for this week. We also have some Resident Evil stuff coming this week, which I think is mostly stuff we already know about. Um, but like, I don't know. Maybe it's a good time for horror, and maybe it's not because like I don't. I with Silent Hill news coming down the road, like maybe there's some new Silent Hill games. Maybe there is like a new remake of 2 by Bloober coming out, which I'm not wholly against. Like, I don't like most of Bloober's games save for Observer, which I think is great, actually. Like, 90% of that game fucking rips. And that's only possible because Bloober, no matter what anyone wants to say, knows how to make a pretty good game. They just don't know how to tell a really good story most of the time. And them doing Cyberpunk in that one instance fit so well into everything they were doing. I'm like, okay, a Silent Hill remake where they're using, like, where they're potentially using the same script. It's not just like a Resident Evil 2 remake sort of situation where they're kind of reinterpreting things. Could be interesting. I also think that we are going to switch to the shotgun and get ready to stop blasting. I'm going to back up just a little bit. Finally got around to seeing Blade Runner 2046. Ah, oh, dang it. I was just in range. Cyberpunk is over for me. I got everything I wanted. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that because I really like the original Blade Runner movie. And I think it's like... everything I've seen and heard about the newer movie, apart from Jared Leto, is that, yeah, it's actually a genuine Blade Runner sequel that's actually, like, good. Oh, it's on Tubi. Everything's on Tubi. Into that. I still think this guy is freaking weird, and I love that he is weird. Ow. Hey, rude. It's so good that you might forget that Jared Leto is in it. In fairness, I tend to forget Jared Leto is in anything, including the stuff he starred in. It took me until a few years ago to realize that Jared Leto was in American Psycho. Jared Leto is usually the worst part of any movie he's in because nobody remembers that he's in it. Like, Jared Leto has a whole bunch of personal problems on top of everything else. Again, he got me. That little bump gets me every time. Like, if I watch that movie, I know I'm not going to remember his scene in it. I just know for a fact because the consistent complaint about any movie that he happens to be in is people going, I don't remember him being in it, but he's in the cast list. What was his scene? Or his scene added nothing to this movie. Or, you know, something like that. It's like you could easily cut his scene out and it would be fine. The movie would not suffer or, like, be more confusing for any reason. Just kind of sitting there like, damn, how bad of an actor do you have to be to leave zero impression when you are in almost every movie for a period of time? That's like, there's a part of me that's genuinely impressed by that. It's like, good job. How? How did you do that? Single exception, Dallas Buyers Club. I never watched that one. Oh my gosh, that little bump gets me. Okay, new strategy. It's not going to be a big strategy, it's just going to be a new one. Where we are going to try and line up with him and stay a distance away and let him come up to us in a straight line. Because it seems to be based on his turning radius that we get that little bump. When he faces us directly, we don't seem to have these issues. It's not, again, not that hard a boss. None of the bosses are technically super hard. We just have very low health and thus have to be careful. Okay. Starting to move, but this is not. Okay, there we go. We're going to grab a shotgun. We're going to back up as much as we can so that we know he's going to face us directly. That made him attack us faster. Huh. No, he wants to be noticed, but nobody can seem to see or hear him. Oh god. I mean, so much of what he does is it's kind of a cry for attention. And as somebody who was a method actor, I personally believe that he is one of the worst examples of what method acting is. And like, he's just kind of doing it for attention and annoying people, and like, nobody seems to like working with him because he keeps doing stuff like that. And yet, like, nobody has had the sense to just tell him no, you know? But honestly, I don't think he is a guy who... Oh my god. That is an issue with the fact that I've never quite gotten the hang of walking backwards in this game. When you walk backwards, your controls are reversed. Left is right and right is left. I don't know why, but like it's a legitimate issue. If I hold down and press right, like it's strictly tank controls, and it makes perfect sense when you think about it in terms of tank controls, and makes no sense in terms of like intuitive motion. And or at least it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why this guy gives me so much trouble and why somebody exercise that guy for movies. Again, you could do so with not too much effort. The movies would remain just as good, if not a little better, because there's no longer the complaint of scenes that no longer have relevancy. Or scenes that don't have any sort of relevancy. Okay, can we please stick the landing on this? Wow, I didn't get bumped. I started early. He still managed to reach me. Huh. I'd much rather have things like De Niro doing stints as a taxi driver to prepare for a movie, supposedly accidentally demoralizing an amateur actor who saw him and was all fuck. If Robert De Niro needs a second job, what hope do I have? That's a fantastic story though. Because I love when actors try to do on-the-job research, um, especially when they like are good and take it seriously. Like De Niro is the kind of guy who, if he's going to do that kind of thing, he's going to do it seriously. Because as far as I'm aware, De Niro is a good dude who is just like a consummate professional. There we go. I don't know if that's actually true. Maybe he's a dick. I hope he's not. He seems nice. Like one of those one of those actors who does certain things so well you kind of wish he was your dad. Like Robin Williams is that for me. And crunch. Gosh, he would not open up. I don't have as much of a problem with almost any other fight anymore. Wonder why this boss fight is kind of vagina dentata. Means no worries for the rest of your days. God, I kind of okay. Teeth is a fun movie, or at least a fun movie idea that I need to go see. But whenever subjects like that come up in games, it's always kind of like embarrassing and weirdly misogynistic. Like I remember Agony, um, which it's not a good game. I have not. Oh my goodness. My kingdom for the ability to hop backwards. Because with the second game being so steeped in metaphors, I have to wonder, was the intention always there? I mean, we'll get into the second game where we really start playing with, like, why do these beings behave the way they do? why are even the same kinds of enemies from the first game the way they are? Like, we're going to be. I think there is a certain level of like, yeah, there is meaning in some sense to why a boss or a monster is designed the way they are. In this first game, it's less so about Harry, I feel, and more about Alessa. Um, but in the second game, it is very much about the protagonist, James Sunderland. The game and its design is very much about him. Um, and so, okay, hold on. Jesus. Okay. Would you get off of me? I worked so hard to get away from him. Oh my god. Ugh. I'm frustrated now. It's fine, it happens. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about the second game yet, but those who know already know what the conversation is actually about. And then there's something like Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which is a transformative reinterpretation of the first game rather than a remake or reboot, where we play as Harry Mason on the hunt for his daughter Cheryl. But the game isn't all it's shaped up to be, or all it seems, as like this specifically Silent Hill 1-ish setup, which is one of the reasons why I think Shattered Memories is pretty darn good, where the symbolism, the design, is a little bit based on how the player interacts with the game in very like rudimentary and I would say kind of crude ways, but nevertheless in ways that are, I think, very interesting. Okay, maybe this will be good. Come on. Ah, come on. Damn, I cannot get him to open his mouth. There we go. Finally. Gosh. So the trick there was literally to just... There is a certain nuance with the controls that you have to take in mind, which just kind of requires practice, and I could not quite get it, and I still could not tell you what I did differently there that worked. But I think to directly answer your question, Malik, they very clearly wanted to steep everything in some kind of meaning. This is not to say that like everything has a direct correlation with Harry, but I do think that certain aspects of this game can like be traced back to Alessa, her inability to like have a proper childhood, have a proper way of growing up, have a proper way of becoming a woman. Like from girl to woman in that sense. And so I think I think there is room enough for the possible interpretation that some of these bosses do have something to do with the way Alessa views herself and the world around her in some pretty explicit senses. And there is the possibility that Harry and like how his relationship with his wife and with Cheryl factors into that. Um, but I have trouble. Harry doesn't seem to have a problem with women. No matter what the interpretation you go with, unless we're talking shattered memories, which again is based on how the player interacts with the game. Um, there doesn't seem to be a commentary on that sort of thing that has to do with Harry himself. So if there is like some kind of vagina dentata play on things, actually before I continue that comment, just humoring the vagina dentata boss fight theory, I feel like if there's a vagina dentata going on, it would symbolize Dahlia's general shittiness and her going, oh right, if I birthed you, that means I can just do it again. I think it's about Alessa's view of the mother she had. Yeah, I think that factors in really well because this game does have to do pretty directly with Alessa's relationship to Dahlia, as very clearly evidenced by like just some basic plot points that are had in the story. So I think that just fits, you know? I think that just works. So there may be like this belief that let's see. If anything, Harry misses his wife and having his family together, which ties in a way of going through the traumatic parts of Alessa's life. Yeah, I think it could be really fair to say um, that if there is some kind of genitalist emphasis, um, it's it has much more to do with the, I would say, the societal role of women in terms of how it is played out in this specific game. Not necessarily a commentary on womanhood or motherhood, but in terms of like the complex relationships between women um, and with women without necessarily being a criticism. Like a lot of games, including Japanese ones. I kind of refer to Kojima, Hideo Kojima on this one because he has this issue. Try to put the gender role first before anything else. And I think with regards to Silent Hill 1 at the very least, and also with 2 and 3 as we'll note going forward, there is like this desire to play with the structure of these societal roles. Not so much to discuss that role, not to discuss it on like a societal level necessarily, but to discuss it on an individual interpersonal way. Or on an interpersonal level. And I don't know enough. I haven't dug deep enough and sunk deep enough into the lore and the story and the writing of these games to be able to tell you how I necessarily feel about that. I just also think that, like, I think that's a valid point of jumping into this conversation, you know? Let's see. There's a rock drill. Take it? Yes. Cheryl would have started elementary at age 6 or 7, or at least going to grade 1, and then his wife getting sick, which intersects with the hospital. Yeah. And, like, no matter what, like, whether Cheryl implicitly knew of her life as Alessa before she was split off into Cheryl as a little bitty baby, Like there is some kind of like unifying factor. And some of it isn't meant to be like super explicit. It's not like, oh, the hospitals are the same or anything like that. It's just uh might have been a design in a vacuum. Yeah. I think it wants to be a design in a vacuum. Because I think if you interpret it like on like a societal level, on a metatextual level, things start getting more difficult because then you have to like these games are about individuals. These games are about internal psyches. These games are about what the protagonist, or at least the mover and shaker of the story, had to deal with in their life and how it shapes their psyche and their view of the world around them. I'm not going to get into it too much more than that because that gets a lot more interesting when we get into Silent Hill 2. And we're almost there. Like, starting maybe this Saturday, because we're going to finish the game next time. We're going to finish our last ending next time. Those are correlations, but not all of the designs seem to have a coherent theme in the first game in the series. Yeah, I would say in terms of, like, how strongly the visual motifs tie into the core themes, it is definitely the weakest of the first three. Yeah, Malik is right. It by comparison, it is more of a proof of concept compared to the second, where they really figured out, okay, what is Silent Hill? What can we do with the story of Silent Hill? What can we do with the visuals and like the aspects of the first game that really worked and bring them to a much more notable head? And so I think the strength of Silent Hill 1, and someone put a pin into this thought because I want to discuss it later because we don't have time because we're ending the stream today. But the thing the strength of Silent Hill 1 is the fact that it doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff that is super clear, but feels connected, has enough correlation that it is something that can be interpreted and reinterpreted and made to fit the shape of one's interpretations pretty easily, and you can make some really compelling arguments for how to read this game. And I'll kind of stop there for now, because Silent Hill is one of those games that like I love hearing about. I try to talk about, but I don't have quite the head for it. I'm gonna try to really process the stuff that's going on in the second game, but who knows? Oh right, I forgot that Saturday we're playing World of Horror or something. Not Silent Hill 2, so sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to wind down. Let's do some house cleaning. VOD is available for 6 days after initial airing. There are follower and subscriber exclusive emotes. We are trying to work towards getting 40 sub points before we are done with Silent Hill 3, because it means if we meet 40 sub points, we are currently at 21 because, it took some time off and subs have lapsed, which is totally cool. If we can get to 40 by the time we hit the end of Silent Hill 3, we are working on Silent Hill 4. So that's something to look forward to. I think that's kind of it. Yeah, let's call that good. We'll be back on Thursday with more of this, the last of this. And yeah. So let's go ahead and wind down. Ivan, Robin, and Andrew Jack without a C will continue to be so for the foreseeable future. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Get hydrated, get vaccinated, get masked up. Be good, be safe, be awesome, and be gone. Bye, everybody.